y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brittany, the woman behind the Akashic Almanac. I give free Akashic record readings on here. All you have to do is pick a crystal, pick an item, and I give you the reading for that item. But today I wanted to change things up. I wanted to share with you more about the Akashic records themselves. If you go back and you look at my other videos, those free readings were in the Akashic records. I'm channeling from the Akashic records. But today I wanted to dive into what are the Akashic records? Why are they important? How do they work? You know, what are they, and how did I get started reading the Akashic records? Before we get to all that, I want to say thank you for being here. If this is the first video that you see from this channel, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to be here. If you'd like to join my book club, I do have a book club. Right now we're reading Journey of Souls. It is about using hypnosis to uncover kind of the mysteries of death and the other side, and the soul itself. I actually haven't started reading it, but I'm going to start reading it soon, and then you can meet us in our book club and we can talk about it. Yeah, so I wanted to mention that in case you're looking for a community or a spiritual community to join, to be a part of, I welcome you with open arms. Absolutely. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to mention too is that I do give Akashic record readings. I do give energy healing treatments. It's called esoteric healing. If you're interested in any of that, you can click on the link below on my website and find out a little bit more. Also, feel free to subscribe to this channel because every week I do put out a new video, and I do put out videos where you get to pick an item or pick a crystal and you get a free reading from me for that week. I'm on coffee again. That's so nice. Okay, the Akashic records, what are they? They are growing in awareness. More and more people are diving into their own Akashic records to be able to receive guidance from their higher selves, from spirit guides, from light beings. It is beautiful. It's amazing the awareness that's growing and the awakening that we are having as a collective. That is really more and more people are diving into spiritual work, and I love seeing it. I love being here and seeing this. And if you're here, there obviously is a call for you to either experience an Akashic record reading or for you to dive into your own Akashic records. Now, you did not find this video by accident. You did not hear about this video by accident. You are meant to receive information about the Akashic records if you're here right now watching. That is absolute divine timing. There are no coincidences here. There is a message for you. Absolutely. And what I want to share is that anyone can go into the Akashic records, but not everyone is ready to go into the Akashic records. What do I mean by that? I'll get to that in a moment because I'm going to share with you my story. And my story will explain to you how, even though everyone can go into their Akashic records, not everyone is ready to go into their Akashic records. And I'll tell you why, because that was me. But first off, what are the Akashic records? The Akashic records are this energetic realm. They're called the Book of Life. The Akashic records are kind of the book of life of your soul and your soul's experiences. Past incarnations, yes, we're talking about reincarnation here, and future incarnations can be accessed with opening the Akashic records. Within the Akashic record realm, some people say it is held in the Pleiadian star system, which is a fifth dimensional space. The Pleiadian beings are light beings from the Pleiades that are here, that I channel, that I work with. For a lot of my clients, I channel Pleiadian guides for them. In the collective readings, sometimes I channel Pleiadian guides, but I can feel them here. You talk about them and they show up. But yes, they are from the Pleiades star cluster, and some folks believe that they hold the Akashic record realm, that they are the gatekeepers of the Akashic record realm, and that they are kind of the lords of the records that decipher and really choose what information a human gets to channel during a reading or during or during their session. Other folks, other spiritual leaders believe that the Akashic records are held within an eighth dimensional frequency, and we access that eighth dimensional frequency to open the Akashic records and to bring that information down into our 3D awareness to help us on this path, on this journey. There are a lot of interesting takes on the Akashic records and what they are and where they come from and who houses or stores them or what it might be. But you get to decide. If you start doing the Akashic record work, you will get to decide where you go. And I know people, and I myself can be included in this, but I do know people that when they enter their Akashic records, they actually will travel to a new temple. They will travel to a new place. That absolutely resonates with me, because once you open the Akashic record realm, there's no telling where your soul will be guided to venture to or where you'll be guided to go within that actual realm. So there are layers and layers to this. It's infinite. The Akashic records feel infinite to me. It feels like once you are ready to access that deeper information, doors and doors and doors and doors and doors on that one informational access point keep opening, and it feels infinite. But again, in the Akashic records, as a practitioner, like as reading the Akashic records, I will never ever receive information for a client, for you, or for myself that I'm not meant to receive right now. So for instance, if we're in the Akashic record realm and we're asking, I want to know about my past lives. I want to know where I've come from, or some past lives that might be interesting to hear about. We can go there and venture into the past lives, but your guides, your spirit team who are channeling the Akashic records to me to be able to share with you, or channeling to you for you to be aware of, will not share information that is irrelevant to where you are right now. They're not going to give you a timeline or a past life that has nothing to do with your story right now and to support your growth, because you have, if I dare say it, hundreds to thousands of lifetimes that your soul has lived. Because in the Akashic records, there is no time. There's no linear time. That's how we can venture and kind of time travel in the Akashic records. So if we were to open that, if we were to be allowed to open that vault, you would feel very overwhelmed. There'd be a lot of weird, interesting information just thrown at you that you would not understand, or not you wouldn't know what to do with. And it can feel very intimidating and overwhelming. And your guides don't want that. They want to be purposeful. They want to give you information that's going to support your growth, because you're here in embodiment right now. And they want to support that. And they want to help you live to the highest timeline that you can possibly live right now, because you're here. You're here for a reason. Where else do I want to go with this? In the Akashic records, when we open this vibratory realm, I personally use the pathway prayer process developed by Dr. Linda Howe. This is the book that I learned from. Yes, I spent $8 on a book on Amazon and learned from it. And I've built a whole, if I say, career out of reading the Akashic records from this book. And I'll go into that a little bit more in a little bit. But I use the pathway prayer process. There are practitioners or readers. I keep saying the word practitioner because this work is so sacred and so important. There are readers who develop their own prayer to be able to open up your own Akashic records. Like when they're opening yours, they will say a prayer that feels good to them, a prayer that they've channeled that's supposed to be their prayer that they use. I haven't channeled a new prayer yet. If I channel a prayer that is mine, and I'm hearing right now, my guides are so here. They're so sweet. And they're so happy I'm making this video, actually. Sorry, I'm getting teary-eyed. I know that I have my own prayer. It's going to come when I need it most. It's going to come at a time when I need it. And sorry, the energy that just came in totally threw me off. I just feel so supported and so loved right now. And if you just tune into this energy, I know that you'll feel it too. Okay, anyway, I know that I'll channel a new prayer for myself when I go and give myself readings and go into my own Akashic records. But for now, I use Dr. Linda's house prayer. You, in your Akashic records, you might come into contact with ascended masters, or these souls who have walked on earth as human and kind of became these enlightened beings that are now on the other side, helping raise the consciousness and helping raise the vibration of humanity. Those are our ascended masters. We're talking Buddha, Kuan Yin, Jesus, Kuthumi, Saint Germain, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, the list could go on. Like the list could go on forever. There are so many ascended masters. There's even someone who's channeled saying that one of the new ascended masters was Walt Disney. Do I know that to be 100% true? I haven't asked, so I don't know that to be 100% true. One book I want to point out, The Light Shall Set You Free by Dr. Norma Milanovich. This book changed my life. I got this book when I was 15 or so, and I read this book and I put it away for 10 years. I just traveled with it for 10 years whenever I moved. And then when I turned 24, I started picking it back up and reading this book again because I was ready for it. I wasn't ready for the information when I was 15, but I bought it when I was 15 so that I could have it with me. And by the time I turned 24, 25, I was ready to revisit this book, and it changed my life. So I highly recommend The Light Shall Set You Free if you want to learn more about just the ascended masters in general and the work that they do. I personally work with Saint Germain, so a lot of clients that I work with, Saint Germain will come forward. Because I work with Saint Germain, I'm going to attract clients that are supposed to start working with Saint Germain. So Saint Germain comes forward, and it's really beautiful. But again, you might meet ascended masters that are there with you on your path. You might meet light beings or these light workers, these light beings on the other side, like the Pleiadian beings. We also have other light beings that come through, Arcturian, Syrian beings come through. I think there's also light beings called Lyran that come through, that have come through. It's limitless. And I will let you know, sometimes if you do receive names or names of, let's say, archangels, because archangels do come through. I work with archangels a lot in the Akashic records. If the name of someone comes through that is a guide for one of your clients, and they present themselves as a light being, they present themselves as an ascended master, or they present themselves as an archangel, go with that. You do not have to know who this being is. I have given readings where the names of light beings have come in and I don't know who they are. And then after the reading, I'll do a little research and look them up, and it's Archangel whoever that is actually really well known in a very specific world of healing, and I learned something new. So that does come forward. Archangels do come forward, ascended masters, light beings, and loved ones. Sometimes family who has passed on but are still on the other side to support you will come through your reading as well, and it's really beautiful. I also do get pets. I did have one time a grandmother come through for a reading, and I also was seeing a little dog with the grandmother, and I was like, there's a little dog here. There's a dog that's with your grandma. And it turned out the grandmother had a little dog that they were just really, really close. And so the message was, grandma's fine. Grandma's on the other side sending you love. And she's with her puppy. She's with her dog that passed as well. So things like that do come through, and it's really fascinating and it's really fun. I just love doing this work so much. So that's giving a reading in the Akashic records. It is filtered. You will receive information that you were meant to know. And also there are going to be light beings and souls on the other side that we connect to that are actually giving us the information during the reading itself. So the pathway prayer process, how did I learn to read the Akashic records? I get this a lot because, like I said before, the more and more of us who want to read the Akashic records and who want to go into more of a spiritual work, they ask, how did you start? How did you read the Akashic records? I have a long story to tell. Bear with me. When I was 14, I started taking energy healing classes, the esoteric healing. I was adopted at the age of 10. And when I was adopted into a new family, the grandmother that family that became my grandmother, taught esoteric healing. She still does. And at the age of 14, I was able to work with her and be in her classes. So I did all the esoteric healing classes. And during my visits with my grandmother, she would take me to spiritual workshops, spiritual retreats, just some really beautiful, powerful healing retreats. And through that network, I would hear the Akashic records a lot. And the first time I heard of the Akashic records, I think I was like 15, sitting in a healing workshop in a seminar. There was an Akashic record reader and an astrologer, and they were sharing how the astrology was complementing what the Akashic record reader had received for information on what's to come, things that are to come for humanity. And I was sitting there, and keep in mind, being 15, there's a huge, that was my awakening. When I turned 14, I had a spiritual awakening. When I turned 15, I had another spiritual awakening. What you might find is your spiritual awakening is never ending. So I have these memories of growing up, and each year another level of an awakening would happen. Well, when I was 15, I heard the word Akashic Records, and I jumped. I was so shocked and so surprised, because for some reason I remembered the Akashic Records. I remembered that I had a draw to the Akashic Records at the age of 15. What are they? I want to explore them. When I asked my grandmother, it's another way to do readings. And my grandmother is such a powerful healer, but her giving Akashic Record readings might not be a part of her offerings and what her soul is here to do. But I was fascinated, right? I was like, I want to know more. I want to know more. What are these Akashic Records? What are they? And I knew, okay, they're a way to give a reading. They're just another way to be able to give intuitive readings or to give readings, right? So, but it lingered with me for a really long time. I could not shake Akashic Records. I couldn't shake those words. I was working in a coffee shop when I was 23, and one of my regulars came in, and she's such a sweet woman, and she said, I give Akashic Record readings. And I was like, you do? Let's do that. That's fascinating. Can I have a reading? In her reading with me, she actually recommended this book. She let me borrow this book from her. She was like, go into your Akashic Records. I feel that you would really enjoy this realm. I feel like you'd really enjoy this work. 2 years later, a year and a half to 2 years later, I was really depressed. I really had no direction. I was still a restaurant server. I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life or where I was going. I had the energy healing background, but it didn't feel like that was everything I was supposed to do. I didn't feel like I was supposed to just be an energy healer. I felt drawn that there was more. So I was laying in bed one night. I was alone, and I was in the depths of despair. Really, I was in the depths of despair, and I was laying there, and I was like, why do I feel so depressed? Why do I feel so sad? Why do I feel so disconnected? I don't understand. And I heard within me, I saw this image of this book, and I heard, start reading. And I went, oh, wait, I have a book. I have a book on how to read the Akashic Records. Why haven't I done this? I've had this book for a year and a half to 2 years. Why haven't I opened this book? But I will tell you, I wasn't ready to. So this goes back to what I said earlier of, you may feel called to read the Akashic Records. Everyone can read the Akashic Records, but sometimes we're not ready to read the Akashic Records. Sometimes it takes time to be ready to go into the Akashic Record realm. I read this in one night, and I actually read probably halfway through when she gave the prayer. I closed the book, read halfway through, she gave the prayer, and I did the prayer, and I opened my Akashic Records for the first time. And then the next day I took notes. I was taking notes, and I said, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know this is the missing piece to my puzzle. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start giving readings, and I'm going to start giving energy healing treatments. And that's going to be what I do. And here we are a year later. Yeah, a year later. And that's how I learned to read the Akashic Records. I sent this book back to my dear friend who is a reader, and I bought my own copy, and I recommend this book to anyone looking to read the Akashic Records. But it took me 2 years from having my first Akashic Record reading to being able to open my own Akashic Records. 2 years. I don't want you to feel rushed for this information. I don't want you to feel like because you're here, you have to go out and start doing this. You will know when it's ready. A lot of practitioners, a lot of people who read, a lot of readers will tell their story, and they will say, I was sitting in or doing this, or I was doing this, and all of a sudden I heard, open your records, or all of a sudden I heard, go read this book, or all of a sudden I was guided to sit in meditation and I opened my records for the first time. It will call to you. The Akashic Records will call to you when you are ready for it. You don't have to rush this process at all. Absolutely at all. This other thing that I hear a lot is, are you certified? Did you become certified? You do not have to be certified to be an Akashic record reader. You do not have to pay $6,000 or $2,000 to take an Akashic record reading course for you to feel like you are worthy or ready enough to read the Akashic records. You absolutely do not have to. I know plenty of readers who have read an $8 book or a $10 book, or who have opened the Akashic record readings or Akashic records by themselves and have a beautiful career and a business sharing that knowledge and helping guide people and helping guide souls, or just doing it for themselves. And it has really changed their lives and really helped them on their path. If you need a course, if you need support to be able to allow you to feel ready, then go for it. Every single person learns differently. Every single person learns differently, just like every single person meditates the best differently. I'm a very visual person. So I was able to read this and receive guidance and be able to know how to read the Akashic records. Other people may be more auditory. Other people may want to see videos on how to do it. Other people may want a lot of different modalities. Other people may want to be in groups and communities so that they can practice with this group and community to read the Akashic records. You do what feels called to you. Every single person learns differently, and every single person has their own soul path, and you may need to connect with readers because those are the readers who are supposed to be your guide to help guide you in the records. There's so many reasons why. Maybe one book will not do it for you. Listen to that. Absolutely listen to that. Listen to that calling and do what you feel called to do to be able to feel good about reading the records or being on your path. And that's for anything, not just reading the records. That's for a yoga teacher training, for a Reiki training, for certifications. You may feel called to learn how to do that in a variety of different ways. Absolutely. But that's how I learned. That's my journey. And yeah, that's my journey. I did mention Saint Germain. I did mention how I work with Saint Germain a lot. Also the Pleiadians, they were here a minute ago with me. How do I prepare for a reading? So sometimes people wonder, how do you get in a place of connection to be able to channel? Well, a couple of things. If I wake up that morning feeling so in alignment and feeling really good, I will sit in meditation and then hop on that Zoom call or that phone call for a reading and be there, and it flows. If I am not feeling that great that morning, I may have to take a hot bath. I may have to sit and sing mantras and do kind of a kirtan for myself. I may have to go into my own Akashic records and meditate there for a moment before I'm able to go into someone else's Akashic records. Sometimes I need to light a candle. Sometimes I literally need to hold crystals next to me to feel good about, to feel good and to be in that space of alignment to be able to channel. Other than that, that's pretty much what I do to prepare. I do not drink alcohol. I do not drink alcohol probably 24 to 48 hours before a reading. I absolutely do not go into the Akashic records with alcohol in my system. And to be honest, I probably drink alcohol. I probably have a glass of wine once every 2 to 3 weeks. And that's big. That one glass of wine is because, you know what? I don't want to limit or restrict myself from being human and having this human experience. A lot of things that might bring us pleasure, we feel shame for wanting that. I'm not going to feel shame for wanting one glass of wine a month. I'm not going to feel shame for wanting to go out with a friend and have a glass of wine. I won't feel shame for that. But what I will say is I will make sure that to prepare for an energy healing treatment, to prepare for an Akashic record reading, I will not have alcohol in my system. Absolutely, that is a no. However, you have to do what feels good to you. But those are my guidelines. That's what I go by. Those are absolutely my guidelines. A couple other things I want to mention is I did go through my own Akashic records. I have had beautiful interactions with Earth's consciousness, Mama Earth. I've connected to Mother Earth's consciousness many times and have received many messages about Mother Earth and how we are being called to protect her, and we are being called to help her and support her and her growth, because as we evolve as a species, she also is evolving. She is raising her own consciousness, and Mother Earth will continue even if we don't. And I know that sounds super dark, but I'm just saying, as Mother Earth raises her consciousness, we have a duty, and as souls and light workers, we have a sacred duty as 3D vessels, as the 3D gatekeepers for here on Earth, to have a connection with Mother Earth, to help raise the vibration here on Mother Earth as well. And you may feel that connection too as you go into your own Akashic records, or as you start to dive deeper into your own spiritual practice. I did connect to kind of different points around the earth and kind of gained insight about why I feel called to go to different points of the earth, and why my soul feels called to walk on the sands of those different points on the earth. And that was really fascinating. I did have a reunion meeting my higher self. I did enter the temple of my highest self, and the woman came forward. Actually, I have a whole podcast episode that's called Meeting My Higher Self if you want to listen to it. But I did, in my own Akashic records, have a reunion with my higher self when I was at a place of healing sacral chakra work, when I was at a place of healing traumatic childhood wounds when it comes to a man in my childhood abusing me. And as I was going through that healing, I had really, really immense pain in my sacral chakra around my cycle. And when I was in my Akashic records, really trying to get to the core of what was happening, I realized as I met my highest self, and I can feel the energy of it now, she came forward, and I was initiated. I was initiated in a way that I'd never felt before. There was this beautiful sense of merging happening between me as Brittany and me and my highest self. And I was actually called Leona during that session. I later learned that Leona has a beautiful meaning behind it. It's a very spiritual meaning behind the name Leona. And it all came and it made sense. But in that initiation, my highest self said to me, she has risen and may she never be forgotten. And I just feel it in my heart when I say that right now. It was the fact that through lifetimes on the earth, we forget where we've come from and who we are and our divine power. And through the trauma and the pain of being here, we keep forgetting, and we feel disconnected with our higher selves, and we may feel disconnected with who we really are. And what had happened for me was I had lived many lives disconnected from my highest self, disconnected from who I really am. And through my work, through energy healing, through my work, through giving myself time to go into my own Akashic records, I did a lot of healing in this life. I was able to connect to my highest self and have that merge happen. And whenever I feel depleted, or whenever I feel just kind of confused or not really knowing what's happening or where to go or what to do next or what's my next focus, I call in my highest self to come forward and really help guide me, because she is a guide for me. Your highest self is a spirit guide for you, and it is possible for you to connect to your highest self and to receive information from there as well. After I connected to my highest self, I have felt really beautifully more feminine. A lot of trauma in my childhood in this life caused me to shut down my feminine side. It caused me to really feel like I couldn't express myself or really come into my own kind of sexuality, or the way that I want to express myself, and the way that I want to be, to who I want to be in this life. And doing work with my higher self and feeling that initiation, I felt more feminine. I have embraced my feminine body more. I have embraced all that it means in the womb space to be a woman in this life. But it was because I had that initiation with my highest self. And if you are, maybe your highest self will be divine masculine. Maybe your highest self will come forward being divine feminine, or somewhere in between, or a mix of both. I do get clients who, when they come forward, their highest self is divine masculine and feminine beautifully blended, because maybe your mission in this life is to blend and find a balance between divine masculine and divine feminine, so that you are able to move forward sharing both and feeling both. Every single person has divine masculine and divine feminine within them. Every single person. If you want to look up Kundalini work, if you want to look up the Ida Pingala Sushumna, if I'm saying those words right, that's how I was taught to say them in the esoteric healing work, Ida Pingala Sushumna channels. Every single person has divine feminine and masculine in them. And sometimes we live a life that's more activating the divine masculine. Sometimes we decide to live a life that's activating the divine feminine. And for me, that was my experience. Beautiful. Is there anything else I want to share with you? That was a lot, wasn't it? I just wanted you to get to know me more, to get to know the work that I do more, so that if you do show up to the Akashic Records, whether it be with me or someone else, you have a better understanding of how it works, how the channeling comes through it. We are opening a channel for a higher dimensional space. And we are so beautifully guided by our masters and teachers, our spirit guides, our loved ones, to receive information that's going to help us fulfill the path that we came here to fulfill in alignment with our highest selves. And it's such a beautiful journey. It's such a beautiful journey. It's changed my life. And if you're here, there's a reason. There's a reason you're here, and I'm speaking to you today. Anyway, I want to say thank you for being here. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to hang out with me here more often. I do have lots of good videos here that you might find interesting. And yeah, I hope to hear from you. Feel free to message me, email me, or leave a comment here on what resonated with you. What do you feel called to do moving forward after hearing this video? And I would love to have that chat with you. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I hope that this helps you on your journey and on your path to understanding your records more and to understanding yourself more.